Donald Trump has sent a letter to Canada. In the letter, he says he will add a 35% tax on Canadian goods starting August 1st Street. Many people feel Trump is not treating Canada fairly. This 35% tax is much higher than what most countries pay. It is a big move in a growing trade fight between the US and Canada. Trump added the tax overnight on everything marked, "Made in Canada." Because of this, Canada's stock market went down. The TSX index dropped by 59 points. The Canadian dollar, also called the loonie, also lost value. Now, a trade relationship worth $762 billion is at risk. That trade link between the two countries is hanging by a thread. In Canada, the government is treating this as a serious emergency. Provincial leaders are calling for fast action. Business leaders are warning that factories might stop working in just a few weeks. Trump's letter is only 160 words long. But it says if Canada fights back, the US will hit even harder. Trump is daring Canada to respond. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has a big choice to make. He can answer with small tariffs or a full trade block. But either option could cause prices to rise in the US that would hurt American shoppers too. This could be just the beginning of a major trade fight. It might change how business is done in North America. The countdown to August 1st has started. Canadian products like coffee cups and car parts may all be hit with new taxes. People are waiting to see which side gives in first. On July 10, 2025, Trump's office sent out a public message. He confirmed the 35% tax on Canadian imports will start on August 1st Street. He also warned that if Canada fights back, he will make the tariffs even worse. Currency traders reacted right away. The Canadian dollar fell against the US dollar. Then the stock markets dropped. The TSX lost its recent gains. Technology and bank stocks were hit the hardest. Experts are calling this move Section 232 on steroids. They say it is strong enough to stop new investments. Some even say it brings back the same fears people had during COVID-19. Big companies are now trying to protect their money. They're buying US dollars and short-term financial tools. In Canada's financial district, Bay Street, people think the Bank of Canada might lower interest rates. This could help Canadians spend more money before prices go up from tariffs. Shipping companies are now waiting before they give prices for cross-border deliveries. They are worried there will be delays when new customs rules begin. In Ottawa, the government is working fast. Prime Minister Carney called an emergency meeting with top ministers. He told them to plan a smart answer that pressures US states but protects Canadian businesses. Sources say Canada may put tariffs on things like Tennessee whiskey and Midwest auto parts. These are meant to put pressure on US states that helped Trump win the 2024 election. But Canada also wants to avoid hurting its own economy. Economists warn that if both sides keep fighting, it could hurt both countries. Canada's economy might shrink. Inflation might come back. Central banks have worked hard to control inflation, and this fight could make things worse. Right now, everyone is watching August 1st Street. If the two countries don't make peace before then, it could turn into a big crisis. It might not only affect North America but also impact the world economy. Political reactions in Canada. The shock quickly moved from the markets to politics. On July 11, Ontario Premier Doug Ford gave a warning. He said Canadians must stay united. He said the 35% tax could hurt people's paychecks and jobs. He shared his message just after Trump's letter appeared online. He said the tax is a serious threat to Ontario's car factories. Ford also announced that Prime Minister Carney will hold a meeting with all provincial leaders. The meeting will be on July 22 in Huntsville, Ontario. This meeting will happen before the usual meeting of Canada's provinces. The goal is to prepare a list of smart counter-tariffs. They want to pressure US swing states without hurting Canada. They are thinking about adding tariffs on Tennessee whiskey, Wisconsin dairy, and Michigan car parts. These products come from states that helped Trump win the last election. In British Columbia, Premier David Eby also reacted strongly. He is from a different political party than Ford, but he agrees with the fight. He called Trump's letter an attack on Canada's independence. He also ordered BC liquor stores to stop selling alcohol from U.S. red states. In Ottawa, the government is now fighting back. Leaders are asking people to skip U.S. vacations and buy Canadian products. They say shopping choices can also be used like weapons in a trade fight. Now, the provinces working together make up over 2/3 of Canada's economy. They also hold 60% of all Canadian jobs. Right now, 75.9% of Canadian exports go to the United States. Some say this makes Canada weak. But others say it gives Canada power. U.S. factories that use Canadian steel, aluminum, or battery minerals may now face delays and higher prices. Secret talks are happening in Ottawa. Canada is thinking of matching U.S. tariffs dollar for dollar. But they want to avoid hurting products needed by Canadian factories. Prime Minister Carney's team believes this kind of smart targeting worked in 2018. Back then, it forced the U.S. to remove tariffs after just 5 months. But business leaders warn of risk. If Canada makes a mistake, inflation could rise by 1% by Thanksgiving. Now, leaders from Alberta to Quebec are united. Canada's political map is turning one color, retaliation red. All news now focuses on whether this unity will last until July 22. Ottawa has already made one sacrifice. On June 30, Prime Minister Carney cancelled Canada's new digital services tax. It was expected to make $5.9 billion Canadian dollars in 5 years. He removed it to make peace with the US, but just 10 days later, Trump responded with a 35% tariff. This ruined any hope for peace. One insider called it appeasement with no reward. The New Democratic Party reacted fast. On March 5, MP Charlie Angus spoke at Parliament Hill. He said Canada must not give in. "We will never kiss the gangster's ring," he said. His message was powerful, because the numbers show the damage. Trump also added a 50% tax on imported copper. Copper is used in batteries and wiring. This could raise the copper cost in cars from 5% to 9%. Once all taxes are added, a car made in Ontario and sent to the US could cost $3,500 more. Fully imported cars might cost $5,700 more. Right now, US cars already cost an average of $46,000. These extra charges could destroy the dream of cheap electric cars. And it might give Chinese companies a price advantage. Canadian mining companies are also worried. Canada made 192,000 tons of copper last year. That's enough for 3 million electric cars. If Canada sends that copper to Europe or Asia instead, US factories will face a copper shortage. This is happening at the same time the US wants to build clean energy jobs at home. So, Trump's tariff does two things. It destroys Canada's tax offer, and it hurts America's own clean energy plan. That's why Charlie Angus and others now say, Canada should respond with equal tariffs, not another peace offer. August 1st is getting closer. Every day Canada waits makes things worse. Now, this political fight is turning into a boycott. Flight Centre Canada says US travel bookings dropped 40% in February 2025. That's compared to February last year. Angry Canadians cancelled spring break trips to avoid supporting Trump's tariff tantrum. Tourism experts warn that if this continues, the US could lose over $4 billion in Canadian tourist money. That's money usually spent at hotels from Buffalo to Disneyland. At the same time, experts told ABC News that these tariffs may hurt American stores. Items like coffee, shoes, and kitchen products will be hit first. The Yale Budget Lab says this new tariff stack will cost the average US household about $2,400 this year. So, a family skipping a trip to the Grand Canyon to protest the 35% border tax could save twice. Once on travel, and again on groceries. Retail groups are already feeling the impact. Shoe wholesalers are delaying fall orders. They don't know if they should pay the new taxes or pass them to customers. Appliance makers say a 50% tax on Brazilian copper will raise the cost of washing machine motors by Thanksgiving. This is normally when holiday discounts begin. The big danger is rising prices that stay high, even after the fight ends. A Starbucks coffee might cost more because copper-powered espresso machines get taxed. A pair of Nike shoes could have hidden charges from Bangladesh. A Whirlpool dryer might suddenly cost $50 more. These are signs that tariffs don't just hurt factories. They reach into every home. Now Canadians are closing their wallets. US shoppers are bracing for higher prices. This trade war is no longer just about politics, it's hurting families on both sides of the border. And the costs will keep growing until one side gives in. But personal protests are just the start. The big picture is now turning into a major economic storm. Official U.S. data shows that trade between the U.S. and Canada was $762.1 billion in 2024. This is the biggest trade link in North America. TD Economics in Toronto warns, if the 35% tariff lasts beyond New Year and Canada hits back, Canadian exports to the U.S. could drop by 5% by early 2027. That drop alone could shrink Canada's economy by 2.4%. It might also stop companies from investing in new projects in both countries. Quebec Premier François Legault gave this warning on February 2. He said up to 100,000 jobs in Quebec could be lost. This includes miners in Abitibi, aluminum workers in Saguenay, and car part makers along the St. Lawrence River. The damage won't stop at the Canada-US border. American car plants get 1 in 8 of their drivetrain parts from Quebec and Ontario. If those stop arriving, Detroit's auto factories will shut down in 2 weeks. Ford and GM plants could be forced to send workers home. Bloomberg Intelligence also gave a warning. They said that if Canada's economy shrinks by just 2%, U.S. economic growth could drop by 0.3%. This would spread through the supply chain and reduce demand for energy. Wall Street is already reacting. The 10-year Treasury note dropped 6 points the day Legault spoke. The S&P 500's machinery index had its worst day since the banking scare in March. Traders are now calling this the North-South recession trade. They believe the tariffs will bounce back and hurt U.S. factory orders by Thanksgiving. In short, one sudden tariff has put $750 billion in trade and 100,000 Canadian jobs at risk, just in 6 months. If money and jobs can't avoid the damage, then the next victim could be the recovery both countries were hoping for. That 35% tariff united all of Canada's political parties. Now, they are like one iron fist pointed straight at Washington. Stock markets dropped. Canadians cancelled U.S. vacations. EV factories warned that electric SUVs might cost $3,000 more. Economists now say the US-Canada trade system is hanging by a thread. Quebec fears over 100,000 layoffs if this continues. If Trump adds more tariffs, Canada, Europe, and Japan might create a new metal OPEC. They could send minerals and energy away from the US and charge higher prices. If Trump steps back, a last-minute deal could create USMCA 2.0. Each side would call it a win. Either way, August 1st is not just a deadline. It's a ticking bomb. So which news will come first? Canada strikes back, or Trump backs down? Tell us in the comments. Your answer might shape our next deep dive.